Hello, 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 and welcome back. I'm coming in hot late this afternoon on a Wednesday to talk about this week's weekly wine flights. It's Cellar Chats. It's Chris. I'm here in the cellar at Second Glass, and it is way too hot to drink anything but refreshing rosé. So that's what we're doing. We're doing another rosé flight because I don't know about any of you, but I'm a little bit over it being really, really hot and humid every single day. I mean, I know I moved here from Ohio because I wanted to be warmer, but this seems excessive this year. Maybe I'm just getting old and whingy, which is possible, but I don't think I'm alone in feeling like it's just too hot for anything. So this week, we're having fun. We're bouncing around. We're going to kick it off with Elena Walch, their Rosato from the Alto Adige. Roll into Hauts Baigneux, their La Surprise Rosé from Loire Valley. We're going to end it with one of my kind of like cult favorite Arnot-Roberts Rosé from California. So let's jump into this tasty little flight and get refreshed because I've been running around all day and it's hot. I even wore my pinkish shirt in celebration of the fact that we're doing rosé this week. So again, first wine in the lineup, Elena Walch. They call it their 2026. Kind of a silly name, but it refers to, at least that's just my personal opinion. It has a meaning. So it refers to the bricks at which they harvest the grapes. So they harvest the grapes at 20 bricks, which is just for wine speak for basically telling you what the potential alcohol is for the wine. And then 26 degrees Celsius is where and at 26 degrees Celsius, which is where the fermentation takes place. So fermentation takes place at 26 degrees Celsius, and they harvest the grapes at 20 bricks. So 2026. It is a blend of Lagrein, Pinot Noir, and a little bit of Merlot from Alto Adige. Although the bottling is labeled the Vigneti del Dolomiti, and that really has to do with the fact that the Alto Adige DOC does not qualify rosé as part of the DOC, so it can't be labeled DOC. So, anyways, the thing I like about this is it's just so classic, refreshing rosé. Like when people think of like Provence style rosés or just like the traditional rosé style, light, vibrant, easygoing, this hits all the notes. Lots of vibrancy, lemon, citrus, a little mineral. Again, we're talking, as the region classifies Vigneti del Dolomiti. I keep looking because I'm not going to remember that. So we're the area within the Dolomites, so Alpine, northern Italy, up close to the Austrian border. You get that like Alpine freshness to the wine, and you get this really beautiful kind of like soft strawberry, easygoing, just a wonderful palate cleansing. I feel 100% more refreshed than I was 5 minutes ago when I came walking in here from what is the hot breath that is Wilmington right now. Yes, all the things I want it to be. Again, Elena Walch, and that is pronounced Volk with a V. The family is Austrian in descent, but they are now part of Italy. Basically, the family was from another town in Austria, moved to this area, which was Austria at the time, but it is now Italy. It's a whole long story. All right, moving into the next one. This is Hauts Baigneux. Really cool producers. We brought these guys in, started bringing them in about 2 years ago. And they're based in a really specific area of the Loire Valley called Adige-les-Redoux, which is within the Touraine. So in this area, is actually known for their rosé production, specifically their rosé of Grulot, which is a native indigenous grape variety, really only found in this little pocket. I mean, I'm sure it grows other places, but mostly found here and known for the rosé. And in fact, they were the second AOC in France to get designated, second or third to get designated for an AOC for their rosé production. So little known region, really hasn't made its way, outside of France all that often. It's not very big, but They're known for their Chenin Blanc and then for their Rosé. So this is mostly Grulot, about 70%, and then a little bit of Gamay, and then Côte, which is Malbec, but within Loire it's known as Côte, so C-O-T. For me, this wine, as we go from the like super refreshing, really vibrant, like that alpine characteristic of the Elena Walch, we move into a little bit more texture, a little more roundness. There's almost like a melon-like character to this wine that I find really pretty. Yeah, again, kind of melon, a little bit of like green cantaloupe characteristics. Again, we're still talking that like really vibrant freshness, but just a little bit overall, like a little more mouthfeel than the Elena Walch. And a little more roundness, but still keeping me refreshed. You know, again, the weather has not changed. I'm looking at it. It doesn't look that hot out. I keep hoping it's going to rain. But this wine is kind of helping me feel like it's not as hot, which is the whole goal of this flight, right? The other thing I'll say, why I like doing like rosé flights in particular, because I think much like how I've kind of droned on about how sparkling wine and champagne and things of that have really just been relegated to being celebration, or they're just bubbles, like they're not wines to go with food. I feel like rosé, you know, it's as diverse and eclectic as the white wine category, but it's sort of just put into the same category as like, oh, it's just refreshing rosé. That's all it really is. Like it's, you know, a rosé is a rosé as a rosé. And that's really not the case at all. So being able to taste 3 different rosés that for all intents and purposes are like kind of all very delicately colored. They do have a like transition. I know you can't see this, so I'm gonna tilt it. There we go. They do kind of transition really light, salmony, a little more color, a little orange hue, and then we move into slightly darker but still like really vibrant color. You know, they do vary, and they can be really crisp and clean. They could be robust and like mouth coating and very complex. And they can do all the things that white wine can do. So don't just relegate your rosé to simple wines and that a rosé is, you know, a stand-in for any other rosé. They are all very different. So again, landing on Arnot-Roberts from Nathan Roberts and, oh my gosh, yeah, and Duncan Arnott. Wow, I almost forgot their names. Amazing, amazing guys. They've been out in California doing incredible stuff. Part of that like new California movement. Their rosé, I remember the first time I tasted this, and I just kind of went, oh my goodness, why doesn't more California producers make rosé like this? It's mostly Touriga Nacional. It's basically a Spanish-inflected grape variety. So you've got Touriga Nacional, Tinta Cao, Trincadera, and Grenache. So essentially a lot like what you would find if you were to drink like a rosé or a rosado from Spain. You can get like Rioja rosados. So you'd find a lot of these kind of these grape varieties in that. Oh my gosh, I'm having trouble today. But so pretty. Lots of freshness. This wine always gives me like watermelon. So whereas like the Hauts Baigneux was more like cantaloupe characteristics, and I'm making a correction while I'm chatting. Those are mostly Portuguese grape varieties, Touriga Nacional. Struggling today. And then a mix of like, so basically the border of Portugal and Spain, where you would find a lot of those grape varieties, kind of like north central, you know, kind of like where the Douro meets the Spanish border, which is not far off of like basically as you're rolling into Rioja and over towards kind of like Tempranillo and that kind of area where you get like a little crossover of Tempranillo and Grenache. There's some Touriga Nacional that kind of crosses borders there. Oh my goodness. So again, what I was saying before I had to correct myself as I was remembering that I was wrong. Hauts Baigneux, more of that like cantaloupe, more of like honeydew characteristics. This is really like juicy watermelon, like salted watermelon on a hot day, which is basically the most refreshing food, I think, of all time. Oh, literally. It's as if I sliced open a watermelon, cut a little chunk out of it, sprinkled with some really like delicious malt and salt, and took a bite of it. That's what this wine tastes like, and it's all the things I want. So okay, again, let's do a quick wrap up of the rosés for this week. I'm realizing my head is like somewhat out of the shot. I decided to stand today because again, it's hot outside. I don't know why standing makes me cooler, but we'll go with it. Starting out the flight, Elena Walch, their 2026 Rosato. Again, that's Le Grain, Pinot Nero, and a bit of Merlot. Then we head on over to France to the Adige Le Redoux, La Surprise, Rosé, Rouleau, Gamay, and a little bit of Co, which is Malbec. And then ending with this just beautiful, I mean, I don't know about you, that might be one of the most pretty rosé labels of all time. Arnot-Roberts, Touriga Nacional, Tinta Cow, Portuguese grapes, not Spanish, Portuguese. And then a little Trincadeira and Garnacha. Lovely, really beautiful rosés, showing the breadth of kind of like the lighter, fresher style, but moving into body and texture, and really like pointing out that like rosé is more than just one style of wine. It is a breadth of wine, just like white wine is. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for supporting local. Come out, have some flights, have some bites, enjoy yourselves, stay cool, and I'll see you next week.